Hey everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 17, Episode 7. Oh no boo, you didn't. Alright, Episode 7 begins with a lunch with Emily and Gina is kind of filling Emily in on the Montana girls' trip to the Dude Ranch. You know, the trip that Emily couldn't go to because she had COVID. Couldn't shovel shit because of COVID. Yeah. It's funny how convenient of an excuse COVID has become. Oh, I have COVID. Sorry. It's like an instant get out of jail free card for any crazy thing you want to get out of. Oh, you needed volunteers to pick up garbage on the side of the road. I know I sound perfectly fine, but I tested positive for COVID. Anyway, Gina mentions that Heather is having a sushi party on Friday, according to Gina, where she will acknowledge my feelings or I won't continue a friendship with her. Then we have a bunch of little check-ins with all the ladies. When we check in with Emily at her house, she tells Shane and the kids that she's going to host a ladies' pool party. And she would like to have it at Shane's mom and dad's house because they have such a beautiful backyard. And, you know, a pool. Emily doesn't have a pool, right? I don't think so. Yeah, she's like, oh, it'll be fun. Have you ever seen a slip and slide? And Annabelle, her 9-year-old Annabelle goes, for a woman? Shane's like, yeah, really, grown women on a slip and slide. Oh, but just you wait, young Annabelle. Not in this episode, but it was in the trailer. Next, we are with Shannon and John at his house, which is on the water. It's like a harbor. I don't know. There's like a boat dock and stuff. And, Shannon's complaining that she can never find anything. And every time she opens his refrigerator, things fall out of the door, like the mayonnaise fell out or the ketchup. And she's like, this needs to be taller. Side note, you guys, she's not wrong. The little ledge for the door is about an inch deep. So I don't know how every time he opens and closes the door, things don't fall out altogether. I feel like something's missing. Maybe there's a plastic piece that was supposed to go in there and it broke and he just took it out. I don't know, but if there's not something wrong, it's a very poor design. Anyway, she talks about, the twins are going off to college next year and how she doesn't know what the future holds exactly for her and John, but she wants to take things slow. She's in no rush. John apparently is in no rush to move in with her either. And again, spoiler alert, in real life, I think they are broken up. So all the things that she says this season, a little cringy. In the next scene, over pedicures, Heather and Tamra fill Emily in again on the Montana trip. I think Emily probably knows everything about the Montana trip at this point, but she's getting another perspective, I guess. Heather tells her that Taylor was very shitty to her. And Emily goes, oh, full disclosure, I did already talk to Taylor about that. So, see what I mean? Emily doesn't need to be told about the Montana trip anymore. She's hearing it from everybody. Anyway, Emily tells Heather that she can be a little hurtful sometimes, with the things that she says. And Heather goes, hold on. I resent that you're taking her side. And you weren't even there. I was busy packing for 2 kids going to college. And I took time out of my day to go over to her house and help her run lines. Okay, side note, why did I not think of this? Heather and Shannon have twins going off to college. Oh, I think Stella and Adeline are just going to be seniors this year, maybe. I don't think they're leaving the house until next year. Anyway, so Heather says, I was very busy, blah, blah, blah. And Emily goes, well, see now, that sounds condescending. Your life and the things that you have to do are way more important than anybody else's things. And Heather goes, I didn't mean it that way. And Emily's like, maybe, but maybe you're just not self-aware enough. Jeez Louise. Is this Pick on Heather season? I didn't watch last year, and I think last year was the first season that Heather came back. So I don't know if she was like horrible to everybody or if she has like in some way deserved this, but it definitely seems like this is turning out to be pick on Heather season. You know, Gina, who I just feel like that kind of came out of nowhere. Gina seems to be triggered by Jen's affair, and she's really working to like get over her thing with Jen and not so much her things with Heather, which I'm not even sure I understand the issues that she has with Heather at this point. And now Emily seems to be jumping on Heather. I don't know. If there's a really good reason for this, if Heather was just a monster last year or something, let me know in the comments. Anyway, Heather says that everyone is invited to her party, even Taylor. And it's going to be like a little boat trip that will wind up at Nobu, which has their own private dock. And then they're going to have dinner at Nobu and take the boat back. All right, in the next scene, Gina heads to Jen's yoga studio. She gives her a candle as a little gift, and they sit down to have a little chat. Basically, Gina tells her that even though they're on opposite sides of the situation, they're kind of on the same journey. So she knows what it's like. Yeah, to be cheated on, not to be the cheater, but okay. Anyway, Jen is like, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I think you're amazing, you know, on. And Gina's like, oh, stop. I'm not good with all the compliments. Anyway, Gina asks Jen about how things are going with her and Tamra, and Jen said, things are good with Tamra. We kind of talked it out. And I told her, like, from now on, if you're hearing some kind of chatter about Ryan, just come to me with it. So we'll see. I think she will from now on. And Gina in her confessional is like, Jen has a very weird expectation for someone who's clearly not going to show up for them. I mean, Tamra did show up, and she dragged her shit all over town. Okay, so back at Emily's house, Emily got some pictures that her mother sent her from her childhood, and it got her all in her feelings. And so she was saying to Shane, I'm thinking about inviting my mom to come for a visit, because I guess she hasn't seen her since 2019, which is the last time. I mean, I was recapping at the time when her mom came to visit. She has a very complicated relationship with her mom. Emily talks a lot about how she and her sister took care of themselves. Basically, they raised themselves. She said, we got ourselves up in the morning, got ourselves breakfast and off to school. And her mom, I don't know that her mom had an issue, like, I don't know that she was like an alcoholic or anything like that, but I don't remember. All Emily says now is that her mom, when her father divorced her mom, that she just went into like a deep depression and slept all the time and just really wasn't present for her daughters. I don't know if she just wasn't capable of caring for them, but it sounds bad. Anyway, she has agreed to come for a visit, so Emily is happy about that. All right, the next scene is Shannon with her twins, Stella and Adeline, and they are shopping at a consignment shop. The twins don't seem to be really into being at a consignment shop, but Shannon likes used clothing because they won't have all the off-gassing that new clothes have, like with the chemicals that are still in there, I guess. With used clothing, it's been washed a few times and already like pre-off-gassed. Anyway, Shannon tells them that she has to call the college counselor. So yeah, I guess it sounds like they probably have a year to go, I guess. And they tell her, they were just in Europe with David, by the way. I think they were just in Paris with him. And so they said that their dad said they don't need a college counselor. Shannon disagrees. And she's like, you know, NYC and University of Southern California are very expensive. They're like, what, $75,000 a year? Do I think the Bador twins are going to get scholarships? No. Anyway, she buys them a couple t-shirts and a little purse that Stella wanted, or Adeline, I don't remember which one, but yeah, that just casually added up to like $3,300, so that's fun. Anyway, now it is time for the dinner. Heather and Taylor are the first ones on the boat, and they have a little talk. Heather's like, I'm glad you're first because I wanted to talk to you before the others got here. And really apologize if I hurt your feelings. Taylor is falling all over herself to apologize to Heather. Heather's like, yeah, I was happy to go to your house and help you. And Lauren was great, by the way. Lauren was the professional acting coach that was there. And in fact, Heather has invited Lauren to the dinner. Is that weird? Is Lauren a friend of? I don't know. I'm just saying, I think it's weird that somebody that Heather just met one time, she's now inviting to this lady dinner. So my guess is she's maybe gonna be on more this season. Okay, so all the rest of the ladies, hop onto the little Duffy boat. And as they're heading to Nobu, Emily tells them that she's gonna have a pool party at her in-laws' house, and everyone's invited. Unclear whether or not Lauren is invited, but why not? Also, as they're heading to the restaurant, they're floating by, I guess you can see John's house from there. Like I said, he lives on the water. And she goes, oh, Heather, Emily, John lives underneath that bridge. And without skipping a beat, Emily goes, oh, is he a troll? I don't know that I would want to tell people my boyfriend lives under a bridge, but all right. So now they get to Nobu, and when they get to the table, there are place cards on the table. And the only thing I want to say about that is that I think it's funny because Heather has seated Shannon and Tamra pretty far away from each other. So even though she says it's just a Heather problem, I don't think she's a real big fan of that rekindled friendship there. It's making her feel left out, I think. Then before they order, Heather goes, oh, by the way, you guys, I'm going to Boston next week because Max is having a hard time at school. And so I bought her a card, and I was just wondering if all of you wouldn't mind signing it. I know she doesn't know all of you really well, but I think she would really appreciate it. No, she wouldn't. I'm telling you right now, I don't speak for all teenage girls, but my guess is she doesn't want all her mom's friends signing a card for her because she's feeling a little homesick. I mean, first of all, I don't know how much it's going to mean coming from Taylor's acting coach, but for another, it's probably going to embarrass her more that her mother had to tell everybody on TV that she was struggling her first week of school or whatever, I mean, it's a common thing and there's nothing to be embarrassed about, of course. But in the mind of a teenager, I could just say that my daughter would have hated that. Also, as one of the ladies, I would have hated it. You invited me to dinner and now you're giving me homework? I don't even know Max. I mean, the thought is sweet. I just, whatever. Moving on. So now Emily says to the table, okay, so tell me what happened in Montana. What's the main thing that I missed? Emily, you're not fooling anybody. We all know that you know every detail about Montana, particularly all the bad things that happen, which is, in my opinion, what she's trying to open up the conversation to. Anyway, Heather's trying to keep it to just talking about the highs only. Let's not do the pits. But of course, immediately, Tamra goes, Gina was triggered by Jen. And Jen goes, yeah, I triggered her. And Emily goes, okay, so how are you and Gina now? In a kind of a pot stirry way, I have to tell you. Obviously, the whole question was a little bit of stirring the pot. But anyway, Jen's new at this game. So she just answers very honestly. And she said, we're really good, so good. We had the best talk. And Gina is nodding in agreement. And Emily goes, okay, so it sounds like you solved your conflict and they both agree. And Heather goes, yeah, I mean, sometimes it's okay to just hit the reset button. Gina, no. Gina. You shut your mouth, Heather. Gina is not going to let you get away with anything. Gina's like, oh, you with the reset button? In her confessional, Gina goes, this is typical Heather. She knows I'm pissed. She knows I'm a hot New Yorker. I mean, someone's full of herself. I'm a hot New Yorker. I know she meant hot-headed, but that's not what she said. And she knows I'm coming to say the things I have to say. Oh, yes. And then we talk about Ryan and the dick pic. Emily asks Jen if she's worried that she's ignoring the red flags in the relationship. And Jen goes, yeah, I mean, look, if Ryan fucks up, it's not like I'm just going to sweep it under the rug. Tamara, but hasn't he already fucked up? And Jen goes, with me? No. Then we flash back to when Jen was telling Heather about Ryan. And according to her, they were on like a Ross and Rachel type break when he did sleep with someone else. But it's fine because they were on a break. Now Tamara is just screeching about how she does not believe that Ryan is going to be faithful to Jen. And that's what hurts me, Jen. And Jen goes, well, you know what hurts me? That you air all my shit to all of our friends. And these are all new friends for me. Tamara, it wasn't me, Jen. It wasn't me. We come from a small town that knows he's a fucking whore. That's why he's known as the town whore, Jen. Then Tamara screams her favorite line, how when he saw her for the first time, he said, I'm going to fuck her. Tamara, how many times has she said that already? That is like a feather in her cap. She cannot hide how flattered she is by that. So anyway, then Tamara brings up the party where Eddie said that the guys told him, you better watch your wife because Ryan has a reputation of going after married women. And Tamara goes, I knew back then that you had the hots for him. I'm assuming this is probably long before Jen was divorced, right? Then Jen says to her, yeah, I remember that night too. And who else was interested in him? You really want to go there? And Tamara's like, not me. I wasn't interested in him. And Jen just goes, I'd watch it, Tamara. Tamara now just loses it. Watch it? I better watch it? You want to tell me to fucking watch it? Then she throws her napkin at Jen's face. She gets out of her seat and starts walking away, screaming through Nobu, you should leave your boyfriend, bitch. Shannon goes running after her. Tamara, 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 stop. The rest of the ladies stay put. Lauren says, is she always like this? Lauren, do your research. Come on. You're filming with OC. You're in the business. You don't even know to do a little background check on the show that you're going to appear on. I don't believe you. Anyway, like immediately after she says, is she always like this? Emily goes, yes, she is. So then Heather says, by the way, to Jen, we are new friends of yours, and all we care about is that you're okay. But if you need to say something, and Gina goes, now would be the time. And Heather's like, yeah, because she's being very vocal about you. I mean, you know these ladies are champing at the bit. I always want to say chomping at the bit, but you know it's champing at the bit. It's a horse thing. It's a horse term. But it sounds so wrong. I want to say chomping at the bit. Anyway, these ladies are champing at the bit to know what it was that Jen was like. What was that veiled threat? You better watch it, Tamara. Like, they just, hey, now's your time. Tamara's not here. She was talking shit about you. So why don't you tell us now what you know about Tamara? They're trying so hard to get it out of her. But Jen just said, well, it's fucked up. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, don't be a letdown, Jen. So disappointing. Meanwhile, Shannon has practically jogged her way out of her Spanx to catch up with Tamara. And they're on the street now outside of Nobu. And Tamara's like, her boyfriend is a douchebag. And for her to insinuate that I was hitting on him? And Shannon's like, oh, is that what she implied? And Tamara's like, yeah. That's not how I understood it. Whether Tamara accidentally took it the wrong way or Tamara purposely took it the wrong way to stir up more trouble, maybe. I'm not sure, but that's not, I don't think that's what Jen was saying, that Tamara was hitting on Ryan. It sounds to me like they were both talking about him like he was hot, which again, side note from last week's episode, Ryan, not worth the trouble, ladies. Not all that. He looks a little bit like, do you guys remember the situation from Jersey Shore? A little bit like that, like a kind of a punk-ass Jersey-looking guy, kind of a Jersey bro, honestly. I could see Ryan on Real Housewives of New Jersey. maybe that's what's going on with Ryan. Maybe it's not that he really wants to settle down, but he just wants to hitch his wagon to a housewife and like be a house bro. a lot of speculation on my part. Anyway, at the table, Emily goes, "Are you saying that Tamara had the hots for Ryan?" And Jen just stays silent. Now Lauren, who is just like incredulous, looks at Jen and she goes, "Are you trying to protect her right now?" Like, even Lauren, even Taylor's acting coach, knows it's weird for the person who was just attacked by Tamara to now be like very coy with her answers and not throw Tamara under the bus. Lauren cannot believe what she's hearing. So Jen's like, "I don't need to cover for her. I will say that there was a lot of joking about," and Taylor goes, "how hot Ryan was." And Jen's like, "Yeah." And now she's like offended when she said the same shit about him. Okay, hold up. Side note. Saying he's hot, like, you know, girlfriends out together or whatever, and like, "Oh my God, that guy at the gym, he's hot." When you're married and you have no intention of acting on it, but you're just acknowledging this guy's cute, which again, he's not. That's one thing. But to walk into a place and say, "I'm going to her," and then be told, and this is according to Tamra, who said that Heather Amin told this to her, that after he was told, "No, that's Tamra, she owns this place, Eddie's her husband," he repeated it and said, "Just watch me." That's a lot different. That's implying you're going to act on it. And it sounds like Ryan, the town whore, has a track record of acting on it. So I don't think anyone has any reason to believe that he wouldn't attempt to make that a reality. Given that, it's very different. Then we hear the story in Jen's confessional. She tells us that Tamara called me and she said that she and Eddie were at this barbecue at Ryan's house. Well, I guess what she actually said was, "We're at a barbecue at Hot Jim Guy's house, so you need to come over here right now." And then I guess Tamara joked and said, "Maybe I should go up to his bedroom and take one for the team." And Jen goes, "It was funny. But now, 2-3 years later, you're uncomfortable?" Yeah. Okay. So here's what I would say about that. It depends on when Heather Amin told Tamra. If when he said it 2 or 3 years ago, if Heather told Tamra like 2 or 3 years ago that that's what Ryan said, then I agree with Jen. Why are you suddenly offended about it today? But if Tamra just learned this information from Heather Amin, well, then I get Tamra's side. Either way, it's being made a big deal right now because the cameras are rolling. I'm sorry, 2 years ago, Tamra wasn't filming. I'm just saying, what might be like an off-color joke that you kind of brush off 2 years ago becomes a storyline when cameras are rolling. And either way, if it was said the way that Heather, relayed it, it's gross. Anyway, back outside when Tamara's saying, "Yeah, it's like if I knew that David was cheating on you and I never said anything." Like, Tamara thinks she's being such a good friend to Jen by trying to get her away from Ryan. And Shannon's just like, I equate it to like John. If some of the ladies thought that John and I weren't going to work out like long term, that would devastate me. Oh, it is hard hearing her say stuff like that when we know what we know now. Back at the table, Jen said she doesn't even believe that Ryan made that comment that Heather said he did. Jen, that's what Emily was talking about earlier, that you're ignoring red flags because the guy's got a history of it. He told you. He has never been faithful. Look, he's getting older. Maybe his Playboy days are over or whatever he wants to call them. But I just don't know why you're even spending any effort on him. Anyway, when Jen tells them at the table that she doesn't even believe Ryan made that comment, Heather said, "Tamara said she heard it from more than one person." Okay, I don't remember that, but maybe she did. So I don't know who else told her other than this Heather Amin, but that kind of shuts Jen up. She does not say a word. So Emily just trying one more time. She said, Tamara says all this stuff about you, but you don't say anything about her. And Jen's like, and I don't know why. I don't know why I defend her. That's the $1 million question. And Emily's confessional, she's like, geez, how many napkins need to smack you in the face before you say something negative about Tamara? Apparently more than one. Now, I don't even know. There's a lot of crosstalk, so I'm not even sure how this conversation got brought up, but Emily is accusing Heather of kissing Tamara's ass. Emily thinks Heather's afraid of Tamara. I guess last season, Heather and Emily had a lot of one-on-one talks about Tamara, and then as soon as Tamara came back onto the show, Heather kind of went running to her. I don't know if it's like Emily now feels pushed aside or what. But I feel like that's a lot like Jennifer Aiden and Teresa. Heather might know that Tamara is the draw for this show, or she thinks she is. And now that she's back, to be honest with you, I don't know if Tamara being back this season has made the ratings go up or down or had no effect on the ratings. I don't really know, but I imagine there are some people that might have left when Vicky and Tamara did and haven't been watching the show now that Tamara's back and we are going to get like a cameo from Vicky. I think there might be some sort of renewed interest in seeing like, what's it going to be like. Maybe Heather thinks she needs to kind of sidle up to Tamara. I don't know. I kind of think that's what Jennifer Aiden was doing though. Teresa is, as flawed as she is the star of Real Housewives of New Jersey. And I just think Jennifer is kind of the pilot fish swimming around the big whale. And maybe that's what Heather's doing. Anyway, Emily doesn't like it, and neither does Gina, because now Gina goes after her. I'm questioning our friendship, Heather. I thought we were close in Montana, and I warned you about Tamara, and then you went and told her what I said. And Heather goes, I asked her if she said anything mean about me or my career, and she said no. What am I supposed to do? And Gina goes, trust your friend's instincts. Now I'm logging everything like, is Heather really my friend or not? All right, so now Tamara and Shannon come back to the table. And Tamara, I think the conversation is still going on between Gina and Heather, but Tamara and Jenna are like at the end of the table. So Tamara just says to her, look, I'm sorry I threw a napkin at your face, but I am livid. In her confessional, Jen goes, you know what? Take your napkin back, Tamara, and clean up your own mess. And then from, I don't know where, I don't think she was sitting on it, she takes the napkin and throws it at the camera in her confessional. Oh, God. Anyway, like I said, meanwhile, Gina is going through a litany of reasons why Heather is the devil. She's like, when I told you I was going for my real estate license, you're like, oh, yeah, Nikki's doing it too. I mean, look, Nikki's a great kid, but he's like 18. And Emily goes, she feels like it kind of diminished her as a grown woman. The fact that she and an 18-year-old boy are going for the same job. So Heather's like, okay, I hear you. I understand. But you have to know that wasn't my intention. Which, of course, she does. That's the thing that bothers me. I think Gina knows Heather might be insensitive or a little tone deaf or something. But especially with her going, oh, Nikki's doing the same thing. Like she was excited about it for Gina and her son. There was no ill intention there. And she certainly wasn't saying it in a way that made you think that she was diminishing or intending to diminish Gina. So, yeah, okay, Heather needs to keep a check on maybe, being insensitive in a way. But also, Gina, know the difference between someone who's trying to attack you and someone who inadvertently said something that hurt your feelings. Anyway, Gina just moves on. And then there was the Travis thing. I won't go into all that again, but we remember it was that, he's your boyfriend, not your therapist, and we don't want him to leave you because you're hung up on your ex kind of thing. Anyway, Heather agrees to work on all of it. She's like, message received, I hear you, I'm going to work on things. Then she gets a text from Terry about David Bedore. And she's like, I'm sorry, Shannon, she's kind of stammering, and Shannon's like, what? And she goes, I just got this text from Terry. And Shannon's like, is everyone okay? Like, and she's like, your kids are fine. Everyone's fine. I'm sorry. David's getting a divorce. And Shannon goes, oh, I knew that. Shannon had already heard the news and also, is having a real hard time keeping a smile off of her face. I think she's trying, but she's kind of like this, oh, yeah, I heard. Like she's so happy. She does go to call the girls. She's like, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to call my girls, make sure they're okay. I think they're going to be okay. Their dad divorced this woman that, I don't know, they might have liked her, but I don't think it's going to be as devastating as when he divorced Shannon, their mother. But anyway, she goes off to call them. Meanwhile, Taylor and Jen are talking about the food. Taylor's like, well, at least the food got served, but she's like, I'm hungry. Anyway, she says to Jen, oh my God, the black cod is the best. And Jen goes, I know, it's so good. It's like candy. It's like candy? Cod? Ew. Jen, have you been eating candy that tastes like fish? Because it's not supposed to. Anyway, that is where this episode ended. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you liked what you just saw, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. And go ahead and click on that bell icon if you would like to be notified every time I post something new. That's it for me. I love you guys. I'll see you next week. Bye.